Great. All right, cool. All right, thank you very much for attending. And today the meditation, again, is, the meditation that I do. That's the Om, the puja that's combined with it. Yeah? And I'm doing meditations now that include the UK, a time slot for the UK and all of Europe. So at 6:30 p.m. in UK time, yeah, we play the puja again, and it's set so that those people can watch it more comfortably and be able to participate. Yeah. So a little bit of this one's going to be about the UK, a little bit about our work in the UK. Yeah. So the focus is that I brought Tibet. I brought Drepung Monastery. Yeah. Yeah. The senior Compsons of the monastery of Drepung, the biggest university of Tibetan Buddhism in India. I brought that, yeah, and I'm the senior Tuku, senior Rinpoche, yeah, got certificates and everything, yeah. So I was asked to take representation from Drepung to world peace, and we were to travel the world, starting with the UK. Yeah, we started this in 2002, and we got to UK by 2004 and began our ceremonies of doing the Kala Chakra, sand painting, and other sand paintings, and providing those throughout the UK. Yeah, and doing all the ceremonies of Tibet, the traditional ceremonies that will be done at Drepung, even the teaching type of ways in which we teach, through debate and things like that. So it's a real cultural opportunity for people to come in contact with that spiritual aspect. But I send them, because I am the reincarnation, for them, the reincarnation of Tsongkhapa, Maitreya, Buddha Maitreya, but I'm also the reincarnation of Jesus Christ. Yeah? And they know this, and they have no problem with this. But there is some difficulty in relationship of blending it into the totality of all the lineages of Tibetan Buddhism. But in my lineage, in the Gelugpa sect, and in relationship to myself, and in the past, during the time of Jesus, I traveled to Hemis, spending my time near Srinagar in the Hemis region, and I spent my time at the Hemis Monastery, and when I was very young, in my probably 19, 20 years old period, for about 10 years. And became a recognized tuku and studied everything and did all the things that one does in relationship to studying the previous teachings of masters, which is where all this information was compiled there. So it was a very, very good place for me, for Jesus to be. And from that, I spent the rest of my life, after the time of Israel, after the cross, after the resurrection, after the return. I didn't die. I returned to Srinagar, and I continued my teachings, and I continued my education. And in that process, I taught as a collective group, where scholars from all of Buddhism gathered together, and by the king of that area, he financed and set up in Srinagar a very large council, the largest council of Buddhist scholars at the time from all over, and by the thousands, and they all came, and they all went over the text and the teachings and everything that there was based on Buddha. And this is in the year 2000, 500 years after the time of Gautama Buddha, and during my time. And I compiled all that. I grabbed all these people, gathered them together as a co-teacher of Buddhism. And so I'm found in history as Jesus Christ is the founder of Tibetan Buddhism. the one who gathered together all the Buddhists for Buddha himself, gathered together all the scholars and everything, and we began the teachings of the gatherings of the very first manuscripts that went into Tibetan Buddhism. So the Mahayana, the influences of all that's known in the gathering of Buddhism, the best transcripts that was then passed on to Naropa, that was then looked at and brought into higher and higher clarity. And that continued going through the lineage of the same lineage of my incarnations. Where I come as Padmasambhava, and I come as Tsongkhapa, and I come through all these, and my purpose is to facilitate and maintain the Dharma teachings, so that the influences that allows humanity to reach the levels of their consciousness can be done. It's not through a whole bunch of religion or something like that. It's through practice. Long life after life after life after life of practice. And in Tibetan Buddhism, we have many, many saints, just like they say there are in Christianity, except that in Tibetan Buddhism, we actually do have those saints, and those saints reincarnate. And they talk of their teacher, and they study about their teacher, and they seek their teacher and find their teacher. And they find that there's a tree of reincarnation that has been taking place for thousands of years. And they can help to facilitate that reality that this really does take place in this world. The safe reincarnated values of the Lord. And that they could be fostered, and that they could be furthered, and that if you were to study and if you were to practice, you too would be in that rank of reality, which is not part of everybody's reality. It is a hard work. It is enormously hard work. Every single one that I'm going to bring out to humanity from Naropa on, have to go through their recapitulation personally. So there is no such thing as being born a living saint. Being born pure as can be because of your previous life situation. It's all a recapitulation, and you have to practice the Dharma in order to be in the Dharma. And there's no excuses, nothing. So I brought Tibetan Buddhism, Lumbum monks, and everything to Glastonbury, because that's the first Church of Christ. And since I'm Jesus Christ, that's pretty good for everybody, without them knowing what's going on, from the Church of Buddhism, Tibetan Buddhism, and the highest official monks and ceremonialists and priests from that particular organization came in order to authorize the fact that the Tuku has been reborn, that Jesus Christ is alive. So they went to Chalice Well. And they did Kali Chakra ceremonial painting, and they did this whole process, and they went to each and every sacred area that Jesus was involved with and blessed it, and oriented it to their reincarnated teacher of Jesus Christ. And then went out into the public and gave pujas to all of them, because all of their pujas and everything come from their reincarnated teacher, Jesus Christ. So it's just a catching up in a way. Most people are devout Catholics or devout this and that, but they really don't know that Jesus has a church. And Jesus had manifested his relationship from one relationship to the next, from Buddhism on into Christianity, to the relationship of the Christ, to the relationship of helping people to become qualified and capable of becoming disciples to Christ, rather than manifesting in the image of what happened as Jesus' relationship in Christianity and the disciples that happened at that time. That's not a good feeling of outcome, thinking that every time anybody's a disciple to Jesus, then they're a martyr. And they're going to die a martyr, and they're going to suffer a martyr. But on the other side, in Buddhism, we're quite different. We don't really go through that process. In most cases, we go through a process to where we give up. We abandon. So we don't get around processes to where we need to be a martyr. We try and do everything we possibly can to be in clear, auspicious, processes. So we built monasteries, we did ceremonies, every day had a purpose, and it had a relationship to the reincarnation and the coming of Buddha. And that we would be in that process, and that's our only purpose, is the fact that we do reincarnate and we're shooting for the best possible reincarnation that is inevitable. If we try, if we really try, if we trust that we include the Lord in our incarnation and not just ourselves. That's why in Chenrezig Puja, it's always said, all the Buddhas to never go on to nirvana, never not reincarnate, but always reincarnate until every living sentient being has ascended into Buddhahood. Yeah, so there's one teaching that says all Buddhas have disincarnated and don't need to reincarnate and they're off the wheel. That's one teaching. And there's another teaching, my teaching, me, Buddha, and all the rest of the possibilities. If anybody else wants to become a Buddha, guess what? Reincarnation is the factor that we do this. That's how bodhisattvas are bodhisattvas. And that's how you attain bodhicitta. Yeah? You accept the incarnation. Yeah? You don't get pissed off at it. It doesn't make you depressed. You don't get attached to the people, the circumstances, the situations. There's so many things involved in it in order to allow the super spiritual qualities that come from Buddha into the manifestations in the world that become higher mind, clearer mind. I mean, we're talking Einstein 10 times fold. Yeah. And it just gets, and we're not talking mathematics or stuff like that. We're talking just being able to fix things and come up with visions and work those visions into a reality. Yeah. And that's how Einstein got his, and that's how many, many, many great people get their work. It's a manifestation of vision. Yeah. And that's the process that comes through the energy that this influence is bringing about. By all the processes of pujas, all the processes of ceremony that has gone on in Tibet, it clears this portion of mind. So we're now in a world where we have all of these circumstances and opportunities because it comes with my dharma. Yeah, it comes with my merit. Yeah, if I didn't incarnate in 1951, you'd be in a really weird shit-ass place because you'd still have all the other incarnations that I have had to deal with. And they've had to deal with me since I'm here, and that's a very unexpected thing because I don't normally come out like this. I'm usually in a monastery in Tibet someplace, or in India, in a cave, or in the forest, meditating. Yeah, makes sense? And hundreds of years go by and no one ever meets me. Yeah. So this is a very different thing. That's why it always seemed like Jesus has been gone for 2,000 years. Just because I'm not really interested in making friends. Getting out and talking to people and telling everybody who I am. So this process of tuku reality and reincarnation is a process everybody goes through. And that's the reason why I'm externalizing, so I can help bridge the teachings that need to be bridged so that people can have a purpose as to why they're abandoning the stuff that they're doing and thinking and feeling and all these different things that I'm going to bring through and teach and ask people to let go of. Yeah. So I'm going to show a little video on the Lumbu monks. It's world peace. The archangel, the archangel of heaven. Really. So that's the process that happened with the UK. And the difficulty is that surrounding me is mundaneness, not my students and everything, but just surrounding me. Events like this take place, but through the minds of the people who are at those events, who are experiencing those events, turn it into mundane bullshit, complaints and irreverent crap. And those people never made it further than the UK. Yeah? They hardly have, like in my family, when I was born here, and then the Tibetans came when I was 9. Their decision was not even to tell me, let alone not let me go, but not even tell me. And they knew about it for years and years and years because they kept getting letters. So I could be 12 years old, a Buddhist monk, which I was. And you think they'd tell me, but they wouldn't tell me. People are like that. People have a tendency with Christ to keep him from his mission. That's what goes on. Think of the 12 disciples. The delusionary side, well, they're his disciples. Who said that? Who said they were his disciples? He said he was a teacher. And do they want to follow? Do they want to listen? Do they want to learn? Do they want to witness? Do they want to see what happens? With every bit of their way, he had to make sure he was in their view. Or it was just like, where are you? Where is he? What's going on? Then it'd be all negative. You really think why do you think he's having us do this? I should be back on my boat. I should be back fishing. My family needs me. Can't help but think about it. And in the Bible it says I'd walk away, be gone for a while. Boy, they'd be really pissed by the time they get back. So depressed and wanting to end it, quit. It's amazing. People are like that to Christ on a day-to-day basis. You can see that with Krishna. You can see that with Buddha. You can see that with all of them. It was always a debate. Buddha would want to be teaching something or want to be getting something done, but he had debate with Sangha, whether or not they felt that was right. Because they would moan and groan and complain. Can you imagine? Doesn't seem like that is what went on, but that is what went on. And that isn't what makes the mission happen. That is what makes the mission not happen. Because everybody thinks they're part of the mission. And it's just Christ. It's his mission, And every second of the way, you're going to be questioning the mission, Because you see it from your point of view or your point of perspective. Does that make sense? And you can't at all imagine, the interplay that Christ is going through in order to stay in a single spot and take care of the mission. It still has to be taken care of. So things get untied, have to get untied. Like he could be in Jerusalem, where they have all this going on and everything. And he's there. Well, he can't run from what goes on that day. It's going on, and it really freaks him out. can't help it. He really shouldn't be there. Yeah? They don't get freaked out in front of a car. Yeah? Does that make sense? Because nobody's holding on to him there. He's a teacher. Yeah? And in certain parts of the world, people see teachers as respectful, reverent, auspicious beings, that, you certainly don't have a thought of attachment, things like that. If an ashram's built, but it's built without that personality of, even questioning, so personality is this, therefore we shouldn't do this. Holy moly, God in the machine again. It's so hard to do this mission when you have to constantly talk about God in the machine. Does it make sense? And no one knows. They're babbling and talking about God in the machine and how important it is. So important. Does it make sense? Yeah. When then there's things like this that go on. Christ is coming. He's bringing Drepung. All energy should have been like this. But it wasn't. Yeah? People were having interpersonal relationships. Yeah. That was happening behind the scene. Witches and people, manifesting during this process. Yeah. And it completely imperiled every aspect that went on. Yeah. And it really, I haven't had any interconnected, process of helping to bring this back around until that got cleared up. And it's not Tibet. Not Tibet that needed to be cleared up. Yeah. It was the way in which they might be responded to when they come into the world like this, or when I come into the world like this, and I want to come out and externalize and teach. And if I have Tibetans around me and all of that, that's a great thing. But it's another thing is whether or not there is an aura of reverence within that relationship. And if it's not, then it really imperils everything. Yeah. So I'm going to try it again. Yeah. This time I'm going back into Drepung, and we will do another world tour. Yeah. And it'll all totally depend upon whether or not I'm allowed to be in the moment. Yeah. And allowed to be that relationship that's necessary in order to hold everything together. And that means all the monks are reverent and everything is, and it's not a sixth-rate thing. There's no sixth-rate thing with it, because these people have been doing it and doing it and doing it. Yeah. So when we come back into America, or we come back into England or any of the places, and I start working with this Tibetan relationship, it's going to be teaching about Jesus and the problem of relationship that being able to recognize and being able to further the mission. Yeah, and better clarity as to what that mission is. And the very first thing on the top of that list is do not kill. Yeah? There's 10 things that are in my need to fulfill. And that's to get people to abandon. Yeah? 10 things. That's it. And then I'm happy. Yeah? All right. Okay. These 10 things. Yeah? Killing, stealing, sexual misconduct, yeah, lying, all right, go ahead and start music. I'm not going to do the invocation. Okay, we're just going to do Om. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath.
Let the forces of light bring illumination to mankind. Let the spirit of peace be spread abroad. May humanity of goodwill everywhere meet in a spirit of cooperation. May forgiveness on the part of all mankind be the keynote at this time. Let power attend the efforts of the great ones. So let it be, and help us do our part. Let the Lords of Liberation issue forth. Let them bring succor to the sons of mankind. Let the rider from the secret place come forth, and come say, "Come forth, O Mighty One." Let the souls of mankind awaken to the light, and may they stand with massed intent. Let the fiat of the Lord go forth. The end of the woe has come. Come forth, O Mighty One. The hour of service of the saving force has now arrived. Let it be spread abroad, O Mighty One. Let light and love and power and death fulfill the purpose of the coming one. The will to save is here. The love to carry forth the work is widely spread abroad. The active aid of all who know the truth is also here. Come forth, O Mighty One, and blend these three. Construct a great defending wall. The rule of evil now must end. From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into the minds of mankind. Let light descend on earth. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into the hearts of mankind. May Christ return to earth. From the center, where the will of God is known, let purpose guide the little wills of men, a purpose which the masters know and serve. From the center, which we call the race of mankind, let the plan of love and light work out. May it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. The sons of men are one, and I am one with them. I seek to love, not hate. I seek to serve and not exact due service. I seek to heal, not to hurt. Let pain bring due reward of light and love. Let the soul control the outer form, and let life and all events and bring forth to light the love which underlies the happenings of the time. Let vision come and insight. Let the future stand revealed. Let inner union demonstrate and outer cleavage be gone. Let love prevail. Let all mankind love.
Okay, just relax. Okay, open your eyes. All right. So, the process of helping Tibetan Buddhism or Drepung or people in general, yeah, is a process of helping people learn to be receptive and allow my process to externalize in my way, yeah, which is incredibly busy. I do things way beyond people's normal scope. Yeah, I built this great big monastery. Yeah, I single-handedly drew it up, followed it through, followed every single thing as it's being built, you know, and at the same time, I could be going through a whole lot of other stuff, but I'm still pulling it off. But I could have pulled it off a lot easier. Yeah, yeah. This whole thing could be pulled off a lot easier if people would practice Buddhism. You know, I can't go hide in a cave, you know, and get this work done. But I still have to be around people, you know, and people have to abandon, you know, ways of thinking, ways of talking, ways of expressing, ways of doing things, yeah. So most of my teachings are going to be in that process, you know, just pointing out, you know, the process of what one needs to abandon and what one needs to do in order to do that, yeah, which is usually don't do anything, don't try and do anything, yeah, rest, you know, and that just becomes an outright freaking conversation. How do I do that? What am I supposed to do? Yeah, that is not abandoning. Does it make sense? Yeah. You know, so, and it's just about taking a deep breath and abandoning, you know, let it go, yeah, and the outcome of it in Buddhism is let it fulfill itself. Buddha exists. It's not fanatical, it's not blind faith. You'll probably get up and do it. That may be what it is. It's not about not doing. It's about all that mental chatter and all that stuff, that goes with it. It doesn't make it service. It doesn't make it light. It doesn't make it energy. It doesn't make it, just all those things become an imperiling aspect in matter. And the purpose of Buddhism is to raise matter up and lift up all sentient beings. And that includes insects and rocks and water and everything. So it really does require emptiness to include all that. And you're so great. You're so good. You're so much. In the process of your existence, in being and doing and giving and caring and sharing, and all those virtues are what this planet grows on. It doesn't grow from the sun, it doesn't grow from water, it doesn't grow from this and that. It grows from love. And it's got to be real love. It can't be sixth ray. If it's sixth ray, we're going to have exactly what we got, and we're going to blame it on everybody and ourselves, and and it's just going to get worse. So the key is abandoning, and the first thing to abandon is killing, and then lying, and then sexual misconduct, and then oh no, what is that? There's a lot of processes of learning here. There's a lot of processes that people need to understand and clarify in order to live their life in a proper way without it being religious, dogmatic crap. It's got to be common sense. It's got to release you from imperils. It's got to completely get rid of things that are manifesting as the elements that control the outcome of this earth. And we do this. That's what we do. We don't make impurities. The lunar lords do that. They blame us. And humanity is the ones who are suffering. Does that make sense? So the only way we can kick this thing is by kicking the habit. You don't feed the tobacco company, you don't feed the alcohol company, you kick the habit. You don't kill, you don't do all these things, and I'm going to lay them out. And it's not a fanatic thing. It's just, if you let it go, if you rest, because I'm not going to say do these things without also saying you have to do this. You have to rest. You have to let it go. You have to, even on the most subtle levels, you got to learn how to actually let it go. And then have the power to watch it manifest and be a part of it. Never think that you're not a part of it. There's parts in this process when you're doing this that you actually see and experience the outcome of your energy penetrating other things. And that, you're thinking it, they're saying it. You go, what? Wow, that's amazing. This is such a good world. Everything's so cooperative. How amazing. Whoa. Make sense? That's what happens from rest and letting it go. Because it allows people virtue. It allows people service. It allows people the ability to carry out, their dharma. Just don't. If you have your hooks, those hooks are going to get into everyone else, and their hooks are going to get into you. So everybody has to practice dharma. Make sense? Read that. Okay. Enjoy. Thank you.